we're just gonna roll with it. Hi, I am, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Bethany Quinn. I run the Boudoir Business Education. I figured, so I'm meeting with my intern today. This is Ethan. Hello. And he was asking me a bunch of questions, and I was like, why don't we just like do a live really quick? And then that way you guys can, he's kind of in the same place where you all are, where he's just starting out. So I see a lot of similar questions in the group and that he's asking, so I figured I'd just go do it all in one place. Okay, Ethan, so you were talking about MacBooks
Yes.
when we first, so go ahead and ask your question again.
So basically, I'm wondering, should I buy a MacBook or buy an iMac like you have? Because I know you have both.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I know the new ones are like powerful enough to work as a like desktop or whatever, but I don't know. Do you think it's nice to be able to have a laptop that's powerful enough to take anywhere and do anything, or would you rather have that power in like a desktop that you can't move?
Yeah.
I guess is where I'm at.
So what I would recommend, and like I started out with a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Like my husband's like old ass laptop from college, and so it was just like everything that whatever I could get my hands on, I would grab. So if you have access to a just like a regular personal computer like a Mac, then I would do that. I personally think that the laptop is a lot more convenient because they're making them more powerful. You can also add like external hard drives to them. You can, like, I use mine as like, I have it as like a kit in like a rolly bag, and I just load everything up that I need and just put it in the bag. And plus it's great because like if you're doing like in-person sales, then you can be like, oh, you know what, client, I will meet you at Starbucks or whatever. And just a lot, yeah. And it just makes things easier.
Cool. That's what I don't know, because it's like, because a lot of people tell me the mat like this, you could take home right now if you needed to.
Yeah,
but it's like,
huge.
That's what I mean. That's what everyone's like, yeah, you can do that. And I'm like, do I want to every 2 days bring a Mac with me?
If you would have carried like a 27-inch
literally,
monitor,
that's what I keep thinking around everywhere. So I just think like a laptop is the way, because I don't know, like I can hook it up to the TV and just like I have
you can
everything.
Do that with that Mac too. That's why I have the Mac in here.
So
the only reason why I have the Mac here is because I wanted to keep my I was called an iPad. My MacBook. I have a MacBook Pro. I could keep it at home, and that could be like my desktop.
Yes.
Or if I'm like working out of town, then I can bring that as like a, as something to, it's just more portable, and I think it's perfect for any type of creative work that you're doing.
Another question is, because you do editing on your laptop, so how long my cousin does web design, and he's like, oh, a MacBook will last you 10 years, right? But he's not using an editing program, like he's not in Photoshop or Lightroom, so how have you noticed the performance over, how long have you had that laptop?
So my laptop is used.
Okay.
And I always recommend having used equipment as opposed to buying brand new, just because, like the people who you have bought it through, like it's either been to Mac and it's been reformatted and like they fixed some of the imperfections of it, and it's basically like all my stuff is used except for my camera body. This is used. But what was your question again?
Just basically, but that's a good, just like, I guess I'm worried about buying this like a MacBook, the new ones are like $2,000, right?
Yeah.
So you buy that and then I use all these like heavy, intense programs on it.
Yeah.
Is that gonna like, do I have a 5-year timeline, or do I have, I guess what I'm wondering is it's like you said, it makes more sense to buy it used versus basically like the used one. If I were to get 5 years out of it, and then the brand new one, I get 7 years out of it.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't even know what my question was anymore.
I think it was like how much time you get with
right.
A used one versus a brand new one, and I think it just has to do with like if you're running these heavy, like you're using Photoshop, you use like the Adobe suite.
Right.
He does a lot of video work.
Yes.
So Andrew still edits on his laptop.
That he's had, because he said he's had that one for a while, right?
So he got his the same time I got mine.
Okay.
And this was like right before I opened the studio, so this is probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
And it's
Seems
still
insane,
going.
but it's still going.
Cool.
Like he has a lot of backup hard drives that connect to his laptop, and then I'm trying to think if he uses anything else, but I really don't think so because he's been at home. My husband does a lot of video film production work, and then I'm more boudoir, consumer based business. So his workload's going to be a little bit heavier than mine. Okay, so Holly, hi Holly.
Nice.
I got my MacBook new in 2017 and use it regularly for Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and other programs. It's still going strong. Cool.
Heck yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, I'm not worried about it because I know, and everybody has problems with their stuff too. So it's like, but that's like a big question in school. It's like, not just like MacBook, but like Windows in general. And like I see a lot of creatives like you and Andrew on Mac. So that's why I want to switch to it. And I've read a lot about how it's good for the creative people because it's very like interconnected, all of their stuff.
From what I remember, like animators really loved to use, like from college, we had like photography, digital photography major, we had animation, we had fashion retail management, a bunch of different majors that were using these computers, and mostly the animators were using a lot of the Windows programs because it was then it was more affordable, and they could custom build their computers and beef up their hard drives.
I didn't even think about it. That's like a 3D person would have.
Yeah.
Like Zeb.
But this is also like almost 10 years ago.
But I bet, I mean, because I know Windows has the big like Cintiq pads that they make for artists and stuff, and we have those at the school.
Those are cool.
Yeah, they are very.
Because you can draw right on the screen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, also I would say like it's more of a personal preference, like who you want to go through as far as Windows versus Mac. I've always used Mac. Well, not always, but for creative projects, I've always used Mac, and I love it. Like I have joined the Apple cult.
I'm wanting to, because I'm on both, but I see like the downside of Windows, like a bit. Like I just notice in general, like transferring stuff. Like I just feel like my computer's not really built, but it's like you said, you can build a Windows computer like around being like a video editor or like a photo editor, but you'd have to build it for just that. You know what I mean? So I'd rather have like a MacBook where I can do all that. You know what I mean? And like keep it separate basically, and not have to do it all on one and have this like TV-sized computer.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's also like, what else are you using your computer for? Like, if it's is it specifically for work, or are you using it as like a gaming computer to use it like on the side for something else? Because I mean, I love The Sims. Like I'll play The Sims all day long.
Oh my god, The Sims! I've probably bought every like there's the Zoo one too.
Who's the Zoo? Is it like a tycoon?
Yes, Zoo. I think it's Zoo Tycoon,
Okay,
but they
I
have like an ungodly amount of DLCs for it. Like,
oh my god,
tigers.
I can't. I'm like, I do not want to be on my computer all the time. Like, I don't like to sit and edit. I'll hire that out. in my free time, I don't want to even look at my computer.
Yeah.
Like, I want to read a book. I want to go to the park.
Spend time doing something.
Yeah, let's see. Holly just said, you might also consider a stable state external hard drive to use for video editing, so it won't slow down your computer as much.
I definitely need.
Cool.
I have one that's meant for Mac only, but I need to get one that's like an SSD for editing. Because the one that you just transferred on is like a Western Digital regular hard drive.
Okay, so it has a spinning disk.
Yes, and I need to get.
Solid.
That's a really, because my laptop is like at that stage where it's like probably shouldn't be used for video editing. It's like I pull up Google and it's like literally is what I feel like. I'm like I have to do it every 5 seconds for it to actually power up. And so I'm like, I don't know if I want to like get rid of the laptop, do the MacBook, which I think is what I'm gonna, or the iMac, but I think I'm gonna do the laptop. I just think that's that way, because I like to travel too, like go on vacation, and I don't want to be on vacation bringing a Mac. You know what I mean?
No,
like, could you imagine, like, oh, we're going to New Orleans.
I don't know who recommended that to you, but don't listen to them about anything.
You know, it's like, it's so powerful, and I'm like, I get it, but it's huge too. Like I said, 27 inches.
Do you know, I felt like it was really hard for me, because it came, like, in the cardboard.
Yeah, it's in, like, a box. Yeah.
And so it was like it's a giant thing. So it's like, why would anyone say that?
Probably because they were a Mac rep. They wanted me to buy it.
I'm like, oh yeah, just take it. You can plug it in. Yeah, probably. It's easier because you don't have like a tower that you're working with. But like at the same time, it's like.
Well, the Apple towers too are like, some of them are like those discs.
Yeah, but like this thing.
No,
like,
for sure.
Not
that's
connected
it.
To any
and you know,
tower.
it's nice, but oh my gosh, I don't know if I have that much time on my hands to be transporting, and plus the laptop I can just slide in my backpack.
Yeah,
it's the convenience, I think, is what makes it a little bit better for me. It's just the convenience of it being as powerful as the Mac, but in that smaller size.
Yeah,
I think that's
what I would recommend.
I just have to get up the courage to actually pay for one.
It'll be worth it, because if you
sure.
look, think of it as a like, even if it's used, like, think of it as an investment towards your business.
Yes.
And it's going to help the ship go faster. It's not going to make it slow down even more, because you're going to be able to upload video. You're going to be able to edit a lot quicker too. So you're really just saving more time.
And the rendering will be. That's true. That's a good way to put it, to get somebody else to pay for it too. It's an investment in me. So
there you go. You just need your investors.
But that's like when I bought my camera and my gear and stuff. That's the way I kind of look. You know what I mean? Was like it's more of a. It's like, how would a blacksmith do stuff without his tools, without a forge? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like you there's not a whole lot you can do without having some form of computer to work off of, because it's a digital media.
Yep.
And I've seen people, don't ever edit on your phones.
I
used to be friends with this girl that she did, I don't think she does it anymore. She did a lot of like, out in the field and the woods kind of couple sessions, right? And she's like, I just want to do it cheaper than what everyone else is doing, but I need your help to price myself and all this other stuff. I'm like, if you want to be the cheap one, I am not the person that you need to be consulting with. But I was like, what are you doing for editing? Like, she's like my first like little test subject in like educating people. And I was like, what are you doing for editing if you don't, like, do you have a laptop? Do you have like all the necessary tools you need? And she goes, oh, I just take them off my computer. I think she shot Canon, because it's like a Wi-Fi transfer from her computer to her phone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And she would edit them on her phone. No, don't ever do that.
Yeah, they literally have a free Photoshop.
Awful.
Well, because the phone is so limited. You know what I mean? On Lightroom, you can do so much.
You can, I was like, do you have like Photoshop or Lightroom as like an Adobe, like any Adobe platform that you can use to kind of like go through there and make sure it looks good? and use those tools, and she's like, no, I downloaded this app.
That probably
like,
lets you do like
the ones that-
exposure and like little stuff.
but it's like brightness and contrast.
That's what I
and
mean.
like,
Yeah, right.
the kind that like if you do skin retouching, it like grazes their face,
That's
and there's
what I was
no
thinking
skin
of.
detail.
It doesn't mess with the clothes either. Like it's like
yeah,
it's like
girl,
just skin. So yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I was like, no, let me help you. Get
The
this,
cheap
do that.
alternative, right?
It's she does not photograph professionally. I think she just does it more to help. She's a nanny, so she just helps out people. I
Yeah.
guess it's like that's
Like,
fine.
oh, I
you
take
can take
photos
those clients.
too.
That's
Right.
fine. I don't want. That's not my. I'm like I can make you a lot more money
100%.
than what you're doing right now. But anyway, what other questions do you have?
I'm trying to think. It's more. I've asked you this before, but I do want to ask it on here. It's like because when I was first starting out, the ISO and aperture, everything is the same in video, right? I've asked, like, so that was one thing. Like, I'm sitting on watching all these videos, and they're like, because people might want to shoot video, like just in general, but I just always wondered, like, does it affect the image the same way? And it does, like you had said before. So it was just like learning that, like, and I think it helped because a video, it seems like to me like it's very intimidating, but once you have the know-how of like the images and stuff, it doesn't make it seem as intimidating because it's you're doing the same thing, just taking a shot of it versus like, you know what I mean?
And you're making adjustments as needed.
Yes.
It's important to know. It can feel really intimidating whenever you bring on a new tool into your toolbox, and knowing your exposure settings like aperture, ISO, shutter speed. You're gonna understand how to do things that you don't even know yet.
No, it's that solid foundation. Like I've noticed having that just really. There's no other way to say it. The solid foundation. I've been able to do things and learn things that I didn't. You hear things and you're like, oh, that's what that means. You know what I mean? You watch videos about. I read those books you gave me. You see the terminology in it. Things make more sense. Like you don't just hear 800. Like I hear 800 ISO now, and it's like that means something.
Yeah.
Like I can envision what 800. Why you would need 800 ISO. So it's like. Being able to take that, it's just helped me so much.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really cool that it is the same, and anyone can do anything. I guess I know that's super cheesy, but it's like literally once you have that solid foundation.
But it's like not until you do it.
No,
you're not going to understand.
100%.
Because you have to. It's one of those things that you have to put action behind.
Yes.
Because it's like I can give you the Lego blocks and then the instructions on how to build the tower. But until you build the tower, you're not going to understand that next step.
Yep.
Until you build the tower.
No, for sure. You can't. It's like you said, you can look at it all day, but and that's one thing that really helped me was with photos. Like in general, like when we first started out. Yeah. Was just I felt like I was getting all this information, and it's not information overload, but it's like ISO, aperture. Oh my gosh, I want to get it right, but it's like. What really helped me was going out and taking an image with it super exposed and being like, oh, that's what, okay. And then everything just starts like clicking. And it doesn't, there was some stuff, we'll be in the studio and I'm like because you say something and it clicks and it's really, but it all comes back to, like you said, putting an effort into it and just doing it and having that foundation. It's super, it's very nice. It gives you a whole new appreciation.
And going out on, I think photo safari, like your stuff has improved. Your video work has improved since.
I can 100%, and I think it's just
exposure.
It's cutting. It's doing like you said, like you just said. It was me getting in here, like. I was very nervous for gown. We did the Galentine's Day. Do they know about?
They don't know yet because I made a podcast episode about this that's coming out in the upcoming weeks, where it's like I can't remember which episode number it is, but it's like hosting an event in your studio space or just hosting an event in general. It doesn't have to be in your studio space because I know a lot of you don't have that. So yeah, he did video of us talking, and then he also took photos and created a little like sizzle reel for us, which is really cool.
I was just super nervous to do it because it was like,
yeah,
it was an event for you, and it's like you're getting mic'd up, and it was like,
I got nervous when I was like, oh, I have to wear a mic.
the law of it's like it makes me nervous telling people you have to wear this because it's like, wait, you can't just like get my voice. I wish I could, but then the boom would be in. But
yeah, we're not doing that.
It's like after doing that, after like I just have this like newfound, like I feel like I could have went and done 5 more of those right after we got. Just I had the confidence after because it was like, but again, it's just doing it. You know what I mean? It's going back to that idea of just I did it. You know what I mean?
Because for you, this is like portfolio building.
Oh, for sure. Because
like I said before, like, until you have that first photo shoot, you need to make sure that you like doing this.
No, 100%.
Before you decide to like invest in like all the tools that you need. Like there's very basic tools that you'll need for your first shoot, but not to the extent of like having your studio, you know, X, Y, and Z. Really quick, I just need to check something. Oh. I'm waiting. We've been sitting here waiting on my client to come and pick up her order, and so I just got a notification from her. She's coming another day, which happens, so that's fine. So we can still keep chatting. I like these little chats. If you guys like them, you want to see more of this, like he comes in like every week, and he's always like, "Hey, I have so many guys." And I'm like, "No, please ask me." And then I just thought of today, like, "Oh, well, why don't I just like open this up to the BBE community?" So, but I want to keep chatting. Okay, let's go back to we were talking about how this is kind of like a portfolio build for you.
Yes.
And every time that you are shooting, like, whether you realize it or not, you're opening yourself up to a new experience. Oh, good, you love it! Yay, Holly! Says it's fantastic.
Sweet.
Yay! Good.
That's a great point, though. You really
100%. Because you're not gonna know. It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You know, it's what happens at your boudoir shoot. You're not gonna understand until Vegas is on my mind because WPPI is going on this week, and I've been like pouring over like all of my friends, like
are they there?
Yes. All their Instagram reels, and like Terry Hofford is there, and I just love her, and I'm just like, I had to get dental work done, so I couldn't go, but yeah, but we're here making our own thing too, which is kind of like I wanted to learn, because the whole point of going to WPBI is like meeting up with your friends, and then like you all learn together, right? It's like summer camp. It is. It's literally so much fun, and you see your friends, and then you get cool shots, and so I don't know. I'm missing out on that part of it, and I'm just like, I want to like grow in my own way, and like you go there and you get the gear, you learn the thing, and then you learn another thing, and then you implement it in your business, and it's like, okay, I want to start doing more self-portrait work, because I tell people, my ladies, to do that as like a way to build confidence in themselves, and then I think it's genius for photographers and creatives to do that, because you're learning so much about your skill, and you're building your own style from that too. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But yeah, back to portfolio building. You're not gonna know until you do know, because you need to do the thing. But anyway, what else do you have for me?
Speaking of portfolio work, I do want to say that after being involved with you specifically, I've noticed I've had more portfolio work. So I guess
cool.
Just to say, like, if people are wondering, because I guess when I was starting out, it was like, it's like you said, you don't know it's portfolio work until you know. But
well, you can go into it knowing like, okay, I want to make sure that I have plenty of images for this campaign I'm about to run.
Yes.
I always try to make it like, if I'm portfolio building, like I'm doing women and dogs right now, where I'm photographing women in like a boudoir fashion style, but not like gross with their pets, you know? It's not like weird couple boudoir. It's like their dog is there with them, and it may be like they look really glamorous as they're sitting with their dog. And then I want them to be photographed like in their sweatpants and like a sports bra and like fashion poses. So it's like I'm portfolio building for that, but at the same time, it's like I know what my end result is because I want to be able to market it to, I'm figuring out if I want to keep doing this because we're dealing with dogs. And I just had a husky in here and I have my vacuum cleaner. Like I'm gonna have to vacuum after every client, depending upon how much the shedding is. And then I also bring Pippa in here too, my corgi. And so it's just like how much work is actually going to go into something like this, but also am I going to enjoy shooting it and marketing it, and like what happens if there's like a really bad dog that comes in here, and like what kind of precautions do I need to take? So it's like thinking about all that. And like what happens if a dog comes in here and like eats fallen, our building's being worked on right now where the studio is. And so what happens if a screw comes loose and the dog eats it, and then I have to, like, am I responsible for that? Like,
no, 100%.
You know, you have to think about all of the things around the box. And so it's like, okay, so I have to think of liability waivers. I have to think of like, what is my insurance going to say about that?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And like also like how much manpower does it require? Do I need assistance? Do I need to have hair and makeup? Do I blah, 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 blah. So until you're in it, you're not going to know.
I'm trying to think of another question. I said I have a notepad. Well, I do at home, but it's like now I need the notepad.
Bring your notepad.
I know, I'm going to next time. That way I can have, I guess, I say client stuff, but it's more like, I guess it's, because we talk a lot about working with the ideal client, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's like a huge stigma of like you have to get whatever work is thrown at you at first, and I think that there's proof out there that that's not true, and that you can like right away work with the ideal client. And so I guess like how do you do that, if that makes sense?
You got to figure out who your ideal client is first. It could be you. I didn't know for the longest time, because I always say that like it may sound like I'm talking about myself a lot, but I only know from the experiences that I have gone through. But for me, when I didn't know what my client was, it was like I was shooting anything and everything, which you can do that, but if it's like A, if you enjoy it, and B, you know who your clients are. Because you're gonna get pulled in all these directions. I was taking photos for like a dance. Some lady that was she does like interpretive dance.
Like a studio type?
Yeah,
okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, we'll just like rent out the studio at my school, no big deal. She ended up like, I was like, she might like, I did her hair and makeup and it was awesome. At the reveal appointment, it was like, I look so much younger. You made me look so much younger than what I am. I was like, but this is you. Like I didn't do anything. It was just some, like I cleared up some blemishes and I told her like, hey, we're gonna be doing this and this and this in your final photos. And it was just like, yeah, here, I can't pay you for these, but I do have this. I got like a printer, like a photo printer out of it. And it didn't even work.
Like the one that I took from
like
just a big printer?
It was like Canon 100, I think.
I think that's
photo
literally
printer.
what.
And I was like, oh, okay, done. And we went out to her car and got it out. She goes, I got it at Goodwill. I don't know. It turns on, so I think it works. The thing didn't work.
That's the thing. There's so, like my computer turns on.
But it doesn't mean that it's gonna get you on the internet.
Exactly, right.
But like it was, oh my god, I like sent it to a friend. I'm like, can you please tell me this is salvageable? But it was like, man, I didn't even use her photos. Like I got like one good photo out of it. But it's like being more intentional is gonna get you there where you want to be faster than just being like, yeah, I'll show you your dance photos, because I thought it would be really cool and fun, but it wasn't like, the type of dance I was thinking of either. And so it was like, in my mind, I was envisioning like, oh, she's gonna have like a ballet skirt and it's gonna be really cool, and I'm gonna photograph her on an all black backdrop. And it was just like, we got some cool shots, but she was not as thrilled
as like you were hoping she would have been.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good point though, about knowing yourself. Like, yourself is your ideal client, because you want to work with people like yourself, like you said. And
I like to think like at first I was like, yeah, everything, I'll do whatever.
Right.
And then it was like, no, I don't like photograph. I don't like not knowing who I'm going to be working with.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you market to one client, to your one ideal client, I think of myself, because I'm like, yeah, I would drop money on a boudoir. I have dropped money on a boudoir shoot before.
Mm-hmm.
And then I value photos. So, and I love experiences. I love to travel. I love going out to eat. Like, those are my values. And then it's like, then I'm like, okay, then like, she might be slightly different from me. Then maybe she's like a healthcare worker. Maybe it honestly doesn't even, I like working with healthcare workers because they pay attention to all the emails that I send them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they're gonna read up on everything, you know. It's like they know what they're getting themselves into because they're properly prepared. They have to be detail oriented for their job, so they're awesome to deal with. Not to say that anyone else that is not a healthcare worker doesn't do that, but that's just who I like to work with. So yeah, think about who they are. Like, are they single? Are they married? Do they have children?
Mm-hmm.
Think about what do they like to do with their free time. Maybe what's another one I can't think of? Do they have any dogs? Are they more of like a dog parent?
What's their vibe, I guess?
Yeah, like the vibe. Like,
yes.
Are they super positive? I love working with women that are like, you know what, I'm taking this journey of self-discovery. I don't like absolutely love my body, but I'm going to be open to this experience.
Right, and I think I think in this process, if I've learned anything, that's what you have to be, for sure. Is open. That's a good thing for the whole process. You just have to be open to.
Yeah.
You have to be open to messing up. I know that sounds bad, but it's like, it's so true. You know, not really messing up, but like messing up and knowing how to hit the ground running. Does that make sense?
Well, it's like more of like knowing what you're aiming for. And when you think of that one person, like, you're going to get all these other people around them too that are going to either resonate with your type of marketing that you're using, or that are similar to your ideal clients. So don't worry about like multiple clients, just hit that one. But if you do, if boudoir is just something that like you only want to shoot boudoir, awesome. If you are adding boudoir to your current business, that's awesome too, because that you may have your ideal client that you've worked with for family shoots, but she might be the same person for your boudoir shoots too, because you can retarget those same clients that you've worked with. And that is really cool. I'm trying to think if I have any clients that have done that.
That have been on a different...
Like, when I did, like... I'm trying to think. I don't think I have.
Have you done anything for, like, Joe or anybody? Like that, like family? I know you don't really do that, but...
I haven't done families
forever.
In a hot minute. I'm just trying to think. But I know they're, like, so if my clients, my past, like, family portrait clients, they still look at my work, though, what I'm doing. And it's like, I don't know if it's a matter of them just checking in on me, or if it's like they're thinking about doing a boudoir shoot with me. So, did that help?
No, 100%.
There's also an episode on it, so you should listen to the podcast.
That's plugging your podcast.
Right. Streamers look. But help me boost my numbers.
No, for sure. I'll make a different account. So.
Don't do that.
I know we talked about stuff is used, right? You use a lot of used stuff, so
Going back to gear.
yes,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just wondering. So like you see a lot. Like if someone was starting out when I was, it was like the idea like you have to have a nice camera or you have to have nice gear, right? And I know we talked about right.
Yeah.
So that's and I guess like to break it down for someone, like what do you think an appropriate amount of money to spend on? Because really, what do you need for your first shoot? A camera and a lens.
Camera,
like
lens.
that's the big, huge thing. Those
An
are the two.
SD card.
Yes, SD.
Or whatever kind of memory your camera takes. Oh my gosh, I start my first digital DSLR. Is it DSLR?
Yeah.
Was that what it used to be
DSLR,
called? It was like a Nikon D300.
Yeah, so
it was this old camera.
So you don't need to spend $1,800 on a body and
No.
you know, all this money. So I guess like the argument that I read online is like the images are better. That's what people are saying, and I don't necessarily believe it myself because it doesn't. There's a lot more that goes into the image besides the camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So as long as you can pull a focus.
Yep.
Making sure your images are sharp. If that's your intention, there are some really cool images that are intentionally blurry that are really cool too. Honestly, let me step on my soapbox for a second. Because I'm not sponsored by any camera company. So I'm like, okay, until that happens. I feel like camera companies tell you these things, consumers, and I mean, there are people who are non-professional. I feel like the gearheads are usually the people that aren't in it. Like they're there to play with toys. And okay, your toy can do this cool thing and it sends your photos to your phone and it can do this and it can blow streamers out the SD card
literally
like,
robots on its own.
Honestly, like I'm gonna quote Chase Jarvis here and say that the best camera you have is the one that's with you, because it is all about you and your capabilities and what you need to know to work that camera in order for you to translate what's in your brain. It has nothing to do with your gear, has everything to do with your creative intelligence.
Yes. That's a really good point.
And like, you know, one of my first one of my first boudoir shoots in like before lockdown. I needed to get a shot of my client on the floor with like I just like dropped sheets on her, like these sheer sheets, and I made it look really cool and drapey. But the lens I had was just my little 50, so it wasn't getting her whole, like I was standing up on a ladder and I couldn't get all of her body in the shot. So I just used the same, I don't think it's the same iPhone. No, it was the one before this. I think it was like was it a 7? It was an iPhone 7, and I picked it up and I got her all in the frame, took the picture. It was awesome. It was like one of the top images that she loved from her shoot, and it was with an iPhone. And yeah, I edited it in black and white. I brought it into Photoshop and Lightroom. I batched it in with all the other images that I took from her shoot, and yeah, it was, you couldn't tell, like you could not tell the difference between that shot and like all the other photos from her session. So yeah, you can shoot with your iPhone or your Android, just don't edit from it.
100%. And it's like you said, that one image you took, it's not like you did the whole shoot.
I didn't do the whole shoot.
Right.
I did all of the shoot with my my Nikon D610. My camera isn't like the latest and greatest. I don't shoot mirrorless. That's like the hottest thing right now.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Everyone's like, you know, the future is in mirrorless. I'm like, I heard, thank you.
As you're like doing, but you're doing perfectly fine. You know,
Yeah.
there's no, it's like, because we've had that conversation. It's like, you'll get a new camera like when you need it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like not really like when you need it, but if that one doesn't turn on.
I mean, honestly, here's the thing: is like I am thinking about getting a mirror. I'm playing with a mirrorless right now, and I mean, with any new camera, like my brain is already registered to like, okay, this is my aperture, this is my shutter speed, and then my ISO. And so like going from that to this Sony camera, I'm like, hold on a second, wait, it trips me up.
100%.
But like the reason why I want to go like to a smaller camera body, well, to a mirrorless, is because I want the smaller camera body. My wrists are kind of like flipping out because my camera body is really heavy that I usually shoot with.
I never even thought about that too. Just being bulkier, and they make those, like the mirrorless are more like the grips are. I don't ever say that. It's like ergonomic.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like they're meant to like fit your hands better than like.
Yeah, and the lenses. I mean, that mirrorless we. I have this insanely wide lens that goes with it. It's like it's one of the like G series lenses that came with it, and it's like bigger than the. I was like, this is stupid because this is heavier. Yeah, this is heavier than my actual camera body, and I have to take the camera. I pick the camera up and like have to put it on the lens. Like the lens is sitting down here, and I have to go
twist the lens onto it.
I have to set it down, and then I pick it up, and it's too heavy.
Is it like how big? Is it like this, and then it goes to the?
So the Sony mirrorless is this big. It's a little bit. It's an older girl too. And then that lens is like this.
That's what I thought. Yeah, they're so
like this wide.
You see people at like the zoo doing stuff like that.
It's a zoom, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I'm borrowing it from Andrew because he's like, I don't really need this, and I'm like, okay, well let me see it.
Right, like let me test this.
You don't need it. What do you mean? Like, let me just kind of play with it, and I know I'll get it down. It's just like. I'm kind of salty because like I'm a Nikon shooter. I've always been a Nikon shooter. And I like Nikon, I just don't. And they have a mirrorless, but I'm once again like the type of photographer that's like, okay, well, this is a free mirrorless camera.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. This is a free mirrorless, so I'm just gonna use it because that's what I have. That's the resource that I have, and it's like a Sony AE. Not AE. I got that wrong. Sony. It's like. I can't remember. It's confusing.
The Sonys are too because they have like an A6, they have an A7 III. It's like
an A7 III.
A7 III
is that the old one?
No,
that was
that's
like
like
your first one.
That's like the
like
brand
first one.
Just,
okay, it's not new. It is not.
I want to say it's. No. I can't remember. I know I've seen
the first
it
ones
before,
they came out with.
It's like that square, smaller body, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
But I'm just like, this is not gonna work. And I did a shoot with it. And it was with one of my cousins because I wanted to gift her a shoot for her 25th birthday. And so I was like, I'm just going to take a few shots with this. And I'm like, whoa, that lens is really, like it made her legs look really long because she was in a seated position. And I was like, well, I'm not going to
switch lenses.
I just wanted to see what I could see with, like what would happen, test it. And then if you like it, the results, then stick with it. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I just like the comfortability and like when it comes to like a camera body and like how easy is it for me to switch between like manual settings.
Right.
And like then bonus points if it like sends images, if it does like live view to my phone or my iPad.
I know a lot of them are like that. They have that like Bluetooth capability where you can.
Yeah, and that's also another reason why I wanted to play with that Sony because I know that they do that too. Mm-hmm. So it's like.
The Sonys are super nice now too. They'll do like just crazy stuff. But
yeah.
Do you think a 50 is the best starter lens to buy?
I think so, portrait wise. Yeah. I primarily shoot with a 50. People will be like, no, an 85 or a 75, but it all has to do with how much space you have. An 85, I would love to be able to shoot with an 85 in here, but this is like 436 square feet. I can't fit that lens in here. It's prime, so that means it doesn't zoom.
Yeah.
So, I'd have to stand all the way to the door.
Literally to get
you know, this is my shooting area back here, I wouldn't even be able to get my person in frame if I was to be back up against that other wall. I borrowed one year for the Portrait Masters Conference in 2019. And because I'm like, oh, I'm going to borrow an 85.
Yeah,
it's going to be so cool.
You're at the Portrait
and I never
Masters.
shot with it. Like I shot with it once, but I was like, because the thing is like you at the Portrait Master, like a part of their conference is that they have a shooting bays, and you go from set to set with each other model and like another like someone instructing you. And I was like, there's like people lined up out the wazoo that they're waiting on their turn. And I have this 85 and I'm like, whoa, excuse me, I need to back up.
And you're like,
excuse
way
me.
back.
And there's people like walking in front of me.
Oh, for sure.
They're like,
yeah.
they're not paying attention to what's going on. And I'm like, okay.
I see you with your 85.
I'm just gonna switch. I'm just gonna go back to my 50. I think I even brought my my Zoom that came with my first camera. So yeah, I started when I was actually making money shooting portraits. I was using a Nikon D3100 like that. I still have that camera as a backup for here. So what else? Do you have any questions out there? If you're catching this on the replay, text or comment #replay, and if you have a question, like go ahead and I'll be checking this out periodically during what is today, Thursday?
Yes.
Throughout the week. And then and then I'll answer your questions. Okay, Holly, do you ever shoot with a lower focal length lens? When you say lower focal length, what do you mean? Can you give me an example?
Just trying to think of a lower focal length if that makes my brain go like 4 different
I know, I'm like
places.
trying to think like lower focal length. Is that like lower this way, 24. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So back in the day, I shot with a 35 millimeter. It was, it probably wasn't the best 35 I've ever worked with, but it is like this old moldy ass lens that one of my friends gave me because he's like, oh, here. It was like a film lens. So analog. It was used with like an analog film camera or an analog camera. I'm like doubling up on my words. So you had to like manual focus only. I liked that because when I was shooting with it, I had like a smaller space to work in. But that's really all that I wanted it to. And then I would correct the lens distortion in Lightroom. So do you know what I'm talking about when I am saying lens distortion? If not,
it's
fine.
like
I just don't know.
I do, but it's like I don't really know. Like I can't really picture it, I guess.
Yeah. So anything that is, it's controversial. It shouldn't be. Anything that's like 75 millimeter or 50 millimeter or below does like a little slight bubble effect, kind of like a fish. If you think of a
yes,
fish eye.
I know exactly. Almost like when you're too close to something. Yes, okay.
So if you photograph with a 35 millimeter, it'll make the face. If you're photographing a face, it'll make the face bubble a little bit. But you can fix that in Lightroom. You just like slide the distortion bubble a little bit, and it will flatten. And then if it still looks too wide for me, I'm like, that person does not look that wide, I'll take it into Photoshop and I'll use their liquify tool, because they have one where you can just focus on the face, and then you just like you use your lens or your cursor, and it can bring it in a little bit. But yeah, I have, and I love the 35. You love shooting with your 24. What kind of stuff, do you shoot boudoir, Holly? If you're still in here.
Also, I was going to mention...
What kind of stuff do you shoot? Okay, what were you saying?
Just, there's a thing called Depth of Field Simulator that helped me a lot with...
Oh.
And, like, you can literally put in, like, the type of camera you have and the type of lens that you're using, and then, or you can just see, like... Because when I first started out, it's like, what does a 50 millimeter look like? What does a 35 look like, an 85? And it will actually do, like, a real live image of what... Like, you can it's like there's a lot of scroll wheels, but it's like you can set, like, mine's an EOS R. I can set Canon EOS R with a 50 millimeter lens, and like, what is that image going to look like when I take it? And then you can adjust all the settings. So I was just going to say, if people are like confused about that type of stuff, there are like websites out there that are like dedicated to
That's cool.
Just to teaching you like what focal length is and why it's important. And it's like you said, it can show you like on a portrait or on like a full body. So for those like 35 millimeter shots that where it does that to the face, you can actually, the website will show you what that does to the face so that you can.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
what is that called again?
I think if you literally type in DOF simulator, depth of field simulator, it'll pop right up, and it's like green and white is the aesthetic of the website.
Okay.
So, but
cool.
It's just a really great just to do with anything like that. Like you can set your aperture. So people are wondering like aperture adjusts the like if you want the actual focus, it helps with that, so you can see like how to get your subject in the background and focus, vice versa, and all that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it just helps me learn a lot of that. So and just like it's like when you have free time, it's kind of like a game, you know, just to like learn about it and stuff. So
I used to have just to help me, because I feel like learning my camera settings was the hardest part.
100%.
And I had like a little binder ring in my camera gear, or I keep it in my camera bag. And that was like, okay, for this, I know what I want in my head, but how am I going to translate that? And then I just like pulled it out and I was like, oh, okay, that's how I do it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, that's exactly how I pictured it in my mind.
Camera settings get intense too. I mean, mine has like 7 pages with 30 different settings on each page. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, it
can get a little intense, but I mean, it's better to know it and to just dive in the beginning, because you're going to get so much more use out of your camera than just leaving it in auto.
Oh, for sure. I see a lot of people that I go to school with that shoot on auto, and you can just see like,
that drives me crazy.
You can see and I don't get why, and I think it's because it's hard.
Aperture priority.
For sure. At something that's like, where you're not just like, oh cool, like it's like tourist shooting is the way I look at it. You know, they're just out there. You can see the differences in the quality of them, the shots alone too. Like what people that shoot on automatic aren't trying to like stylize, or they're not worried about the composition. They're just worried about like, oh, cool building. Yeah, well, that's what you can just get a phone and like don't worry about buy one of those lens kit on Amazon to like clip on to the.
Someone once asked me like, what's the best camera that I could ever get for for family vacations, and I was like, your cell phone.
Literally.
And they're like, what? It's like, yeah, no, really. Like,
and then they call like an LG, and you're like, no. No, I'm totally kidding. There are so many kids in school that like, we have to use this app, not to go on a rant, but like, and all the kids that are on Android are just like, oh, sorry, I can't do that. I can't get it. And I'm like, no, like, are you gonna tell your client that? Just like, oh, sorry, I'm on Android, can't send it to an iPhone.
They'll find a workaround.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
make it work
for sure. Like,
don't just use that as.
Don't be the Android guy and then be like, sorry, I'm Android. Like,
sorry, you don't have full capability.
Right.
No shade against Android users.
No, absolutely.
Okay, Holly says she shoots beauty, boudoir, and high school seniors. Nice. Do you feel like it gives you, because your favorite is 24 millimeter? Oh, she's got it. I can't talk. She's got some examples of her work. Cool. Nice. I'm going to check that out after this live, because if I click on that now, girl, it'll shut it down.
I didn't think about that. That's literally me, though. I'd have been like, oh, cool. And then I end the Facebook Live.
I also wanted to offer up to portfolio reviews because I had someone, it was Liza. We did a Zoom session in February. Can't remember the exact date. It's probably on the banner above. We did a Zoom session and then we did a portfolio review. So if that's something that you guys want to do in the future, I would love to do that. Her images were insanely good. Liza, I know you'll probably be watching this later. Which I'm still looking forward to your homework assignment. Where's the studio tour? Come on, girl. We're gonna call you out.
Yikes. Get called out on Facebook Live.
She's not even on here.
Yeah.
She can't even defend herself. But she knows. I told her I was going to be on her about that. So she has a good sense of humor.
That's a cool
so
first assignment, though.
Yeah, she was like, I don't know, like just do it. It's really not that hard, and it's fun too. You know, it's another tool in your toolbox.
Yep.
And you can repurpose that content in your private Facebook group, and you can even have like put it on your TikTok. And I don't personally use TikTok, so I just know that portion of it. Okay, do you have any extra questions before we wrap this up? Same for you, Holly, if you're still watching.
Not anything I can think of off the top of my head. Besides, like, it's more just like client stuff, but that's stuff that we could get into. I think it'd be cool.
We can get into that right now while we're waiting in case Holly
that's true. It's just
or
more
whoever
like,
else is listening is typing in there.
Well, I guess we went over. It was more of the ideal client. Like, I think that's so
Excuse me.
important, especially like starting out. I wish I would have.
You are starting out.
No, I know. I don't mean like. I guess I just mean like someone who like literally today watches this and is like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like this is what. I just mean that as like. I just think that's so important. That's such a good way to, because if you take whatever, that's what you're gonna. It's like you get stuck in that hole.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like you're just gonna be 2 years down the road still doing whatever. But if you start out, I guess that's like what I meant by like when I was starting out. If someone who was like, I'm like right here, so if somebody's like right here, if I could just say that's what I would say is like make it your ideal client number one priority.
Mm-hmm.
The like
only speak to that person.
Yeah, figuring that out, because that's what's gonna, and they're gonna bring like-minded people like themselves.
Well, not necessarily just them, but like you'll be speaking to your ideal client only, but then that's going to resonate with people that are similar to your ideal client too.
Exactly. Yes, that's what I was trying to. You don't cut yourself off from what you need, because you need your ideal client in a way. Like that's, I mean, I don't know, you'd drive yourself nuts if you weren't working with your ideal client. You know, like I can.
I've
like,
worked with them enough. I've had enough.
No, 100%. No, yeah.
But I'll market to the same client I was talking about earlier, where she is similar to me in the fact that, you know, I like experiences. I like, I like to have my own. Hold on, we'll get to that in just a second. I modeled her after myself. So if I have a maternity client or a lead that is someone that is looking for maternity photos, I would still definitely I would love to photograph more maternity. Definitely do her, because how empowering is that to like get a woman in here who is this is like what women are known for, like to bring life into this world.
No,
so like, how cool is that? So she's still like, I'm still like, you know, and she has her hang-ups with her body too.
Right.
So I would like, she's gonna be a facet of my ideal client.
Gotcha. That's a really good way to put that.
Let's see. Holly says, I have trouble getting clients in my studio. So much that I have an expensive hobby rather than a business. I've been there before, girl. How do I get clients in? I have been successful in the past, but then moved to a different location. Are you, okay, so you're in a different location. Is this like a location that's further away from like a city, like you move to a different city or you move to an entirely different state. Not that it doesn't even matter, because like you, like, what kind of marketing are you doing, and are you doing any like model calls or anything like that? Because that's gonna really help you. Because when I'm a different country, oh yeah, girl, I see you. Okay, so let me think here. I cannot speak to moving to a different country. However, I do know what works to get people in like butts and seats. But I would offer up, if you do any kind of Facebook ads or anything like that, I would definitely jump into that pool, because you could type out, your copy can be something like, are you a woman that needs time for herself? And then like include what it is that you want. Sorry, my brain is going a million. You guys know how my brain is. I'm like thinking of all the things, and then I'm trying to say what's happening up here. And then, so what I would do is I would waive a session fee. This is probably against popular opinion. I'd waive the session fee. I would have so it would be like a complimentary session. If they want to have hair and makeup, do it as an add-on. So then they'll already have, they'll either have all their hair and makeup done, or at least it will cover the cost. If they want to upgrade to hair and makeup, then they can. Include a complimentary digital image and a certain dollar amount of print credit if you're doing prints, like to go towards an album or a folio box or wall art or whatever. Create your ad. Enlist just, are you a woman looking to have more time for herself? You should consider a boudoir shoot with your studio name. It will come with, or it includes da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then if they want to upgrade to more images, that information can come on later on down the line. I'm putting a course together right now that explains that more in details, but that is how I built my business here. I came right out of lockdown. I transitioned from a full-blown portrait business to just boudoir and black and white. And I've been here since 2020. So that's what's helped keep people in my seats, by doing those type of sessions alone. I don't know what you would call, a lot of people are like, oh, these are model calls. But the thing is like, you call it a model call, the people that are coming in to see you are gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm a model. No, you're not a model. You are, it's different. It's like misleading if you're telling people that it's a model call. But you can still work it in your favor. So they come in, you send a series, before they come in, you send a series of email that's like, hey, your session is complimentary. This is also what it comes with, just to reiterate everything. If you wish to upgrade to more images, here's the link to my full pricing list. But it's after they've already booked with you for that complimentary session. I have had really good results from that. Let's see, every year for my birthday, whatever age I'm turning, whatever 36 days of beautiful is what I called it. And I do that exact same structure where it's like, okay, I'm giving away 36 boudoir shoots, complimentary boudoir shoots. It includes this, this, and this. If you want to upgrade to hair and makeup, you have to pay for that. Here's how much that is. If not, then they know to come in with their hair and makeup done. Or else you can put like a cool guide together to like send them to the right place to get their hair and makeup done. there's a million ways to pet a cat, and it's a huge like process, but it works. If I have like a lull in my bookings, that's what I do. You could even do it at like a cheaper session fee rate. If they want to upgrade to hair and makeup, they have to pay for it. You know, like everything, it's an exchange, a value exchange. So if that's what they want, then great. If they just want to do their hair and makeup themselves, then you know that's fine too. But at least it doesn't cost you an overhead of like you're already like just by them walking in the door, you don't want to already be in debt. So, and people, I probably had, I gotta look up the numbers on this. I just like listed out from all of these like giveaway sessions and like a like Google spreadsheet, and I was thinking like I was curious to see like out of all the giveaways that I remember the total number that I made from the giveaways. It was only over 20K last year on giveaway sessions alone. And then all the other ones were, you know, they filled in the gaps. But do you have a studio space that you shoot out of, or are you shooting out of your home, or are you doing like an Airbnb situation? Holly, if you're still on here. Because you have to take that into consideration too. And the reason why I'm asking that as well is because I like to start out with ground zero. Like I have a studio space, but like, you know, I know I'm going to be making money off of people, like just them coming into my door. I probably had a total, oh, that's perfect. Oh my God, girl, get to work. She owns an Airbnb. I use that as my studio as well. That's awesome. That is so cool. For those of you who may be watching that don't have that awesome ability to have an Airbnb or like somewhere where you can shoot, just like if you live by yourself, I know my friend Lisa, she has a dedicated space in her on her condo where she shoots. I used to shoot out of a third bedroom in my home. I would just I had to like put all my pets in the basement with my husband. And I was like, okay, like this is, like I need like an hour, okay? If you talk to your partner and they're supportive of you, which I'm sure they are, see what you can do, negotiate terms on like getting people, like accepting clients into your home, and so you can afford somewhere to have a space. But since you have an Airbnb, like you can use that. I know that's like a little bit of overhead if you don't have someone in there, but still like utilize it to the best of your ability. So then I like to keep it as low cost as possible. I love not having to have an overhead, like anything that's like I'm going to have to pay in order to put on the shoot. So yeah, use that space. Use what you got. The same thing. I've had the same philosophy with my gear. Like use the thing that's best, that is easy access to you. So anyway, what time is it?
It is 2:53.
Okay, well, we need to hop off here because he has to go to class. But if you guys like, I know Holly is a huge fan of us doing this. So let's see, you'll probably come in next week.
Yeah.
We usually get together Fridays after I shoot, which is like 4:30. Yeah, you're welcome. It's like 4:30 Eastern Standard Time because we're in Indiana and we that's where we are. Like I was gonna add something to that.
Yeah. It's like I feel like when you said Indiana, everyone was like,
But I think New York and Chicago are on Eastern Standard Time now, but we're about to change. So anyway, okay. All right. It's been like an hour. Oh my God. Okay, I'm getting off here. We'll catch you all next week. Bye.